Hey guys, I just wanted to take the time to welcome you to our midterm exam review. Today we are just basically going to have a very short mock test session, but at the end we're going to go over your study guide, and your study guide is going to prove to be very helpful in helping you to prepare for this exam. So first things first, make sure that you have read or basically are up to speed on all of your readings so far in the course. So you should have read at this point chapters 1 through 8, because that's what your midterm exam is going to cover, chapters 1 through 8. So you should be reading back over any notes that you've taken in the chapters, of course, hitting on those key concepts that we've discussed in your chapter readings, and of course, anything that we've covered in the lessons as well. So your midterm exam will cover chapters 1 through 8. You may not use your notes, textbooks, or any other references while you're taking the exam. However, you will have an hour and a half to complete this 80-question exam. And because this is a common question for my students, I just wanted to note that the exam questions are multiple choice. So this should help you to have a better understanding of how the exam will take place. Further, make sure to refer to syllabus page 2 in our course, because that's going to outline the time frame in which the exam opens and closes. Now, it's very important that you are making sure that you are taking this exam within the given time frame. If the exam closes and you didn't take it during that time period because of you forgot to take it or whatever it is, I can't reopen the exam. So it's very important that you take the exam during the given time frame. Now, with that being said, it's also important that you make sure that you're taking the exam in a secure location on a secure computer and a secure internet connection, because I can't for any reason reset your midterm exam or your final exam in the course. So make sure that you are taking the exam in a place where you know the internet's not going to drop or cut off on you, or your computer's not going to restart itself, or whatever it is that's could happen. So make sure that you're using a very secure computer and secure internet connection to do this exam, because if you're kicked out for any reason or so forth, per the department, I'm just not allowed to reset your exam. Now, with that being said, when you go to take the exam, you're going to see this icon that I have right here, that BSI. And remember, I talked about this in your course orientation, and BSI is that BioSig identity verification. So when you're in the course, you're going to click on exams in the left-hand side of the main course screen. And let me see if I can actually show that to you really quickly. So hold that thought. Right, let's see here. Okay, so if I'm logged into the course now, and I'm just kind of dragging around this little screen right here. So I just wanted to show you, if you scroll down in the course, you're going to see exams, okay? And when we click that, let me make sure I'm not in instructor mode, or you won't be able to see what I'm talking about. And I am. Hold on just a second. Okay. All right, so we're going to scroll back down in the course, and you're going to see exams. And when we click that, you're going to see this right here. You're going to see midterm BioSig verification. So you will need to click that, and once you click that, you'll be redirected to verify your identity. Of course, it's not going to allow me to do that because I'm not a student, but once you click that, you'll be redirected to verify your identity. So once you verify your identity, you will then see the midterm exam link pop up, and from there you can begin your exam. You only get one attempt at the exam, guys, so please don't verify your identity and then go, oh, okay, well, I'll do the midterm later. No, it needs to all be done at one time, so that's very, very important. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into some of the sample questions, and then I'll hit on the study guide in just a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question, give you a few seconds to think about the answer, and from there I will provide you with the answer. So first question is, public speaking requires the same method of delivery as ordinary conversation. True or false? And that's going to be false. That's going to be false. So it doesn't require the same method of delivery as ordinary conversation. It has a lot more organization and so forth. All right, according to your textbook, rather than trying to eliminate every trace of stage fright, you should aim at transforming it into general anxiety, visualized adrenaline, professional stage fright, positive nervousness, or confident apprehension. The correct answer here is going to be positive nervousness. We can actually use that anxiety for a good thing, and it can be, we can turn positive nervousness into something that works for us. All right, when you experience stage fright, your body is producing extra blank, a hormone that's released into the bloodstream in response to physical or mental stress. And that's going to be adrenaline. If you've ever been scared by someone and you've kind of felt that rush hit you all of a sudden, that was your adrenaline. So adrenaline is also in public speaking, and it can be used as a good thing. All right, the aim of an ethical speaker is to accomplish his or her goals by any means necessary, true or false. Now, of course, you'll see I'm just asking you a variety of different questions. Your questions are going to be multiple choice, but I just thought it would be possibly helpful for some of you to have a little variety on this test session. All right, so the aim of an ethical speaker is to accomplish his or her goals by any means necessary. Well, that's going to be false. Of course, when we think in terms of ethics, we want to make sure that we're being an ethical speaker. So any means necessary could mean anything, and that necessarily might not be very ethical. Okay, speech making is a form of power and therefore carries with it heavy responsibilities. Excuse me. Speech making is a form of power and therefore carries with it heavy blank responsibilities. Logical, ethical, psychological, emotional, or sociological. And the correct answer here is going to be heavy ethical responsibilities. And we just kind of hit on that just a second ago. So that would be ethical responsibilities. Next question. Representing someone else's information in a speech or paper as though it were your own is called blank. And we talked about this in our lessons and in our textbook, of course, whenever we talked about plagiarism and oral citations. So representing someone else's information in a speech or paper as though it were your own is called plagiarism. And we can avoid plagiarism simply by giving credit where credit's due, and that's going to be providing those oral citations and also properly formatted references. All right. Research indicates that even when we listen carefully, we understand and retain only about half of what we hear. True or false on that one? And that's going to be true. The sad fact of the matter is, even when we're really trying to listen carefully and really retain the information that's being stated or whatever it might be, we only retain about half of what we hear. So imagine when we're just sitting around and not really trying to listen to people, how much we actually retain. It's pretty striking, right? Okay, next question. According to your textbook, when you listen to evaluate a speaker's message for purposes of accepting it or rejecting it, what kind of listening is involved? Critical, reflective, evaluative, empathic, or comprehensive? And here, since we're evaluating the speaker's message for purposes of either accepting it or rejecting it, we're actually using our critical listening skills. Okay, blank refers to the vibration of sound waves on the eardrums and the sending of messages to the central auditory system of the brain. Blank refers to paying close attention to and making sense of those sounds. So the correct answer here would be hearing refers to the vibration of sound waves on the eardrums and the sending of messages to the central auditory system of the brain. Listening refers to paying close attention to and making sense of those sounds. So if you've ever heard someone say, "I know you heard me, but were you listening?" This makes a lot of sense then, right? Okay, moving on. The first step in speech making is choosing a topic for your speech, true or false? The first step in speech making is choosing a topic for your speech, true or false? And the answer here would be true. Absolutely. That is the first task that we want to accomplish in a speech, is to choose the correct topic. All right, when the general purpose of your speech is to blank, you act primarily as an advocate. So here we're looking at the different types of speeches. And when we're advocating for something, we're attempting to persuade, entertain, demonstrate, commemorate, or inform. So if you're acting as an advocate, you're choosing to persuade. So when your general purpose here would be to persuade if you're acting as an advocate. All right. The blank reveals precisely what the speaker hopes to accomplish in his or her speech. The blank reveals precisely what the speaker hopes to accomplish in his or her speech. And that's going to be the specific purpose. Specific purpose statement reveals exactly or precisely what the speaker hopes to accomplish in his or her speech. All right, being audience-centered means that your primary purpose as a speaker is to gain a desired response from the audience, true or false. Being audience-centered means that your primary purpose as a speaker is to gain a desired response from your audience, true or false. And that is going to be true. When we are audience-centered, that is our primary purpose. All right, audience analysis is an important factor in which of the following: selecting a topic, organizing the speech, choosing supporting materials, all of the above, or A and C only. Audience analysis is an important factor in which of the following, and that's going to be all of the above, so it's going to be D. It's important in selecting a topic, organizing the speech, and choosing that supporting material. Remember that no one audience can be informed or persuaded in the same way. You have to take into account what topic is relevant to that audience, how to organize the speech, and how to choose that supporting material. All right. You can't, oh wait, I think I skipped one. Yeah, all right. Age, gender, sexual orientation, religion, group membership, and racial, ethnic, or cultural backgrounds are among the factors to be considered in blank audience analysis. And if we look at what we're asking there, it's going to be obviously demographic audience analysis, because we're looking at demographics here with all of that wonderful stuff. Okay, you can almost always count on the reliability of internet research materials found through major search engines such as Google and Yahoo. True or false? And the answer here is definitely going to be false. It's still up to us, no matter where or how we locate research, to evaluate it in terms of reliability and credibility. All right, according to your textbook, the 3 criteria for judging the reliability of documents located on the internet are recency, authorship, and blank. And that's going to be sponsorship. We always want to look at who sponsored that research or that article or so forth, because that often can create biases in the information we find. Okay, a blank is a search engine that combines internet technology with traditional library methods of cataloging and assessing data. And we have this at CTC, and I hope you take advantage of it. It's called a virtual library. And a virtual library is a search engine that combines internet technology with that traditional library method of cataloging and assessing data. And virtual libraries can be a great benefit to students because they often offer highly credible information. All right, so because of their high credibility, you should use only factual examples in your speech, true or false. Because of their high credibility, you should use only factual examples in your speech. That's going to be false, because we can use hypothetical examples just as long as we let the audience know that it is a hypothetical example and not a factual example. So there's no problem with that at all. All right, according to your textbook, an imaginary story which makes a general point is called a mythical example, artificial example, spurious example, hypothetical example, or synthetic example. And again, this goes back into what I was just saying. An imaginary story that makes a general point is actually called a hypothetical example, and hypothetical examples are perfectly fine to use as long as you let your audience know that this is a hypothetical example. So according to your textbook, the 3 basic kinds of supporting materials are blank, blank, and blank. So supporting materials, and that's going to be examples, statistics, and testimony. Now don't forget we can also use narratives and facts as well, but the 3 basic kinds of supporting material are going to be examples, statistics, and testimony. All right, audiences often find well-organized speeches to be more credible than poorly organized speeches, true or false? And for this, it's absolutely going to be true. A well-organized speaker is definitely seen as more credible than a poorly organized speaker. A speech with a specific purpose to inform my audience of the steps involved in the process of making ice cream would most likely be arranged in blank order. So now we're talking about organizational patterns, orders. And that's going to be, since we're talking about a process, we're talking about actually creating something, that's going to be is it going to be a formal, causal, chronological, progressive, or spatial order? And if you guess chronological, you're absolutely right because it is going to follow a chronological order. You have to do this before this and so forth. So that's chronological. Next, a speech whose specific purpose is to show a cause-effect relationship is usually organized in blank order. So we're talking about cause and effect relationships here. Therefore, we're going to obviously use causal order as the method of organization. All right, so that's chapters 1 through 8. Your study guide is going to be attached to the email that I'm sending the recorded link to this meeting out with. So don't feel like you have to sit here and hurriedly look at this information. But I do have a study guide that I'm going to be sharing with you via email. And I think this will prove to be very helpful in helping you to look back through your notes and go, oh, okay, well, this is what I wrote down for, whatever this element is on the study guide, and I think it's just going to be a great resource for you. But if you do have questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, make sure to check out syllabus page 2. It lets you know when the exam opens and when it closes. Just a few reminders on that as well, but don't forget that the midterm covers chapters 1 through 8. You'll have an hour and a half to take the 80-question exam. It is multiple choice, and don't forget that you will have to verify your identity using BioSig by clicking on that little icon in the exams area of the course, verifying your identity, and then moving straight into the midterm exam after that. You can't verify your identity and come back to it later, so make sure you're doing it all at once. You can't, the exam is timed. It's not something you can save and come back to later. It has to be completed all at one time. And don't forget that for no reason at all am I allowed to reset your midterm or your final exam, so it's important that you're using a reliable computer, a reliable internet connection in a very secure location. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, enjoy your week. Thank you.